Hello and welcome. Thank you for listening. My name is Sarah Baumert. I'm a yoga teacher, Feldenkrais practitioner, and host of the Sarah B. Yoga podcast. The Sarah B. Yoga podcast and my practice, Body Matter, is an interdisciplinary learning space where we explore the many ways that movement can help facilitate body acceptance and awareness, reduce pain and stress, regulate the nervous system, and build strength and ease. My teaching plays with the synthesis of Feldenkrais awareness through movement lessons, traditional yoga asana, creative imagery, breathing exercises, self-massage, and a compassionate mindset to help you feel a greater sense of ease and comfort in yourself. Sarah B. Yoga and Body Matter have a lot of other program offerings. These podcasts are just a taste of my teaching. Each week I teach a range of online classes, including a gentle yoga class, a level 2 class for more advanced students, and Feldenkrais classes with monthly themes, anatomy lessons, and Q&A sessions for more in-depth study. I have 2 new online series offerings for the fall. A Feldenkrais series titled Coming to Your Senses, an exploration of the spaces of the eyes, the mouth, jaw, ears, vocal and breathing apparatus. And my second course, Wakeful Body, the blending of yoga and Feldenkrais on Monday nights. As one student recently described Monday nights, that felt like I just gave myself a massage. So these fall classes will be a continuation of some fan favorite stretching sequences that incorporate bolsters and other props to enhance the poses. There is still plenty of time to join these courses live or via the course recordings. You can find more information about these offerings in the show notes. Okay, on to today's episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Hello. Welcome to episode 45 of the Sarah B. Yoga podcast. I'm Sarah Baumert, your host and teacher. I teach a slow-flowing alignment-based practice, and today we're going to do a little bit of a longer full class. So we'll gradually build from a seated meditation to some longer yin-style holds, and eventually we'll get into some more challenging asanas. So you'll need a block, a strap, and a wall space. So take this time to grab your props if you have them, and place the block and the strap up towards the top of the mat, and place the short end of your mat right near a wall so that the wall is behind you. And then turning off any phones or devices, anything that might disrupt your practice today. If you have any questions or comments, please be in touch. I love hearing from each one of you, whether you're an online student that has found me via the podcast or if you're a student of mine from Minneapolis or Cambridge. Today's class you'll be able to find some photos and some tips under the show notes, and these are always available along with the other podcasts at sarahbyoga.com. If you're looking for a live class with me, my next retreat is scheduled for March 15th through the 22nd, 2014 at Mar de Jade in Chacala, Mexico. And lastly, before we get started, if you're enjoying these podcasts, please consider donating to the cause. Thanks for listening, and have a great class. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started in a comfortable seat. You can sit in Sukhasana, which is translated as easy pose, which is just a simple cross-legged position, or if you have another more comfortable position for you, go ahead and take that seat. And close your eyes. We will play around with keeping the eyes closed for the entire class. This can be a hard thing to discipline yourself with. So if you're very curious about it, you could find like a scarf or a bandana and wrap that around the eyes, which really keeps the light out. But more than anything, just asking yourself if you feel comfortable closing your eyes throughout the practice, just as a way to move inward. And as we begin here seated, it's usually a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more easy to close the eyes, as opposed to when we're doing, say, a standing balance. So just allow yourself to find the space where your hands rest comfortably at your sides, so your elbows hang beneath your shoulders. And you can allow yourself in these first moments, as we establish our seat, to feel the surface beneath you. You may rock forward and back a little bit from the tail towards the front of the pelvis, and side to side, feeling equal weight on right and left sitting bone, so that you really find the cross section of your pelvis, your very center. Imagining your spine like a snake, lifting and sliding up away from the bowl of the pelvis. And the skeleton as a framework that allows for this kind of movement. And we'll explore that a lot today, how to soften around the skeleton to free up the movement of the bones. Just starting by noticing the way that the breath is able to freely move the bones. Moving your awareness to the edge of your nostrils and feeling the temperature of the air as it moves through the nostrils, warming and moisturizing the air, expanding the belly and the lungs as you inhale. As you exhale, feeling the diaphragm rise, pushing air out of the lungs, and the belly draw in. Spending a few moments tracing the journey of your breath as it enters into you from this apparent outside, inhaling, expanding the lower belly, making space for the lungs. And exhaling, feeling the diaphragm muscle lift and push air out of the lungs. And feeling this as a kind of animation inside of you. Feeling the external features of your face and the forehead soften, melting any tension, and allow the sides of your eyes to soften. The top of your head softens and opens. The upper palate feeling like a balloon lifting to help lift the weight of the head out of the shoulders. Continuing to feel that every time you breathe, your container changes shape. The shape of the apparent inside to the apparent outside changes only slightly in relationship. Keeping your arms just relaxed, almost like your arms aren't even connected to you. So the arms are not going to help here at first. You're going to exhale and twist to the right and just see how far your body, your spine, your ribs twist without using the hands or the arms to push you around. So do let the arms kind of follow the shoulders as they turn to the right. The right armpit area slides back. And then coming back into your breathing, Gently place the left hand to the right knee and walk your right fingertips a few inches back, and very gently using the arms to deepen the twist. Noticing where the boundary is in your body, where you feel like you need to stop, maybe where it's a little bit harder for you to get your full breath in and out. And noticing if you can soften as we're twisting here on the exhale, feeling your ribs very soft so that they melt towards your spine, towards the center. And allowing your head to turn to the right. Eyes are still closed, face is soft. And then gently release to center. Keeping your eyes closed, if you're sitting in Sukhasana, easy cross-legged position, just take a moment to change the crossing of your legs, rock side to side on the sitting bones and forward and back, feeling that cross-section of the pelvis. Inhale, growing the spine tall like a snake, lifting from the pelvis. As you exhale, the arms will be kind of like limp and relaxed at first as you twist to the left. First, feeling how much twist you can find from the center. As your shoulders turn to the left, just let the arms follow. Noticing the sensations in your back muscles, how much they're working, how much they're able to release, maybe a combination of those two. And then placing your right hand to your left knee, walk the left fingertips back behind you, and just gently using that leverage that you get from your arms to feel the spine grow taller, roof of the mouth lifting. Left armpit area slides back. And then feeling this shape and its subtle changes as you breathe in, feeling lungs expand, feeling your chest lift. Breathing out, let your neck turn to the left as well so that your face turns towards your left shoulder. Staying soft through the front of the neck and the jaw. And then exhale to unwind. Great, let's come up to hands and knees. We're going to take dog in prayer 1. So you'll bring your forearms down to the floor, walk your elbows so they are more narrow than your shoulders, and interlace your fingers. So you're making a sort of triangle with the forearms. And then slowly walk your knees back a few inches so that your knees are just a little bit farther behind your hips. And look towards your thumbs. Broaden your chest, and imagine that your back space is like a turtle shell. And if you imagine the turtle that ducks its head, kind of hides its head into the shell, we are going to try to reveal the head here. So the back is very broad, and the sternum reaches towards the chin, the neck lengthens, so that you really feel the spine moving out of the shoulders. Then walk your knees back a little bit farther and start to lengthen your arms so your shoulders move back and the head will soften right between the elbows and the upper arms. You can take the forehead to the floor. Then push with your forearms, like you're trying to stretch your mat forward with your forearms, which will lengthen the arms a little more and bring the stretch a little bit more into the sides of the shoulders, and all the way down the side seams of the body. Today, I'm really continuing to focus on feeling your body, yourself, the edges, the boundaries of you, and how you can stretch those a little bit more, using this as a way to deepen the poses, and to feel a softening within the boundaries of each pose. Notice if you opened your eyes, especially during that transition. Here, just closing your eyes, feeling it's safe to do that so that you can take your attention back to the movement of your breath. Relaxing any of the thoughts in your mind. Noticing how the shape of your body, the movement of your breath, and the activity in the mind can all start to merge, so it becomes a little bit more of one experience. And try to use your exhalation as you draw the belly up and back to help move the hips back away from the spine as the spine stretches out of the hips. Great. Slowly start to move the shoulders forward, bringing your hands back to the floor. And then just sit back onto your heels, moving towards a child's pose. Support the knees with any padding if you need to. Take your hands back to your feet. You can grab the outsides of the feet. Let your shoulders curl towards the floor. And begin to round the spine. The tail is going to stay heavy, dropping right between the heels. The forehead draws towards the knees. And try to touch the knees with the forehead. Now, in order to do this, you have to round the entire spine, so not just the neck. So lifting your navel away from your thighs so that there is some space between your belly and your thighs. And if your eyes are closed and you can't see if that's true or not, you could even take one of your hands. Just see how much space is there between the tops of your thighs and your belly. And see if you can dome the belly area upward away from the thighs as you still keep your legs grounded. Notice how that rounds the lower back, starts to spread the back, and you may be able to get your forehead a little closer to your knees. So curling the spine like a snake would coil. Then taking your head and rolling so that you're more on the top of your head. In order to do this, the hips will start to lift, coming into a rabbit variation here. Just first taking a little bit of pressure, massaging right at the top of the head, feeling that space open. Getting familiar with that position. And then lower your heels back down so you're back in that child's pose with the forehead towards the knees. Interlace your fingers down back behind the back. If your shoulders are really tight, here would be a great spot to grab your strap so your hands can be separated with the strap in between. Draw your elbows towards the ceiling. Start to lift your arms up. Imagine you could get your arms to be vertical, reaching towards the ceiling. Now press down with the shins towards the earth, start to lift the hips up and roll back into that rabbit pose variation with the arms lifting and trying to reach towards the floor overhead, towards the front of your mat. Good, continue to curl the belly up. Great, another breath in here. Try to soften the edges anywhere that feels hard, that feels rigid. And then gently release all the way out of it. Bringing your hands forward so you're back in hands and knees. And turn the toes under, we'll reach slowly back into downward facing dog. Again, noticing if in the transition you opened your eyes, how that feels. Closing your eyes again if you're comfortable with that. Great pose here in down dog to keep the eyes closed so that you can really feel the energy lines moving through the body. So imagining that turtle image again as you press through the arms from the back all the way through the arms towards the floor. Broaden and widen across the chest, and then feel the neck release away from the back, out from between the shoulders. Take a little bend of the knees. And feel your thighs almost like they suction up into the hip joint. And the tops of the thighs move back, taking your hips farther back, taking the weight of your pelvis and lifting it off of your waist. The spine continues to freely move out of the pelvis as the pelvis lifts. And feeling that movement of the breath moving the container changing shape of this pose. So there's both the movement that you feel muscularly as you press the floor, as you maybe take some small wiggles or replace the hands or a little bend of the knees, those sorts of small movements that we do in down dog. But eventually you can come to a little bit more of a stillness where you then sense that the breath is what's creating most of the movement. So try to quiet the pose down enough that you can almost hear the breath inside of your body, any other sounds inside of your body, using the breath as that anchor. Good. We'll inhale to come forward towards high plank. This perfect structure to help you split the energy of the spine moving forward and back. So you feel the spine reaching towards the head, making sure your head doesn't sag here. The sides of the neck are long and lifted, and the tail reaches back towards your heels. Splitting this structure, moving it in two directions, and then slowly lower yourself through a low push-up chaturanga all the way to the earth. Taking your feet, so tops of the feet are on the floor. We're going to come to Sphinx pose, bringing your arms forward. Your forearms will be parallel with one another. Elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Palms face down. Take a little wiggle of your hips side to side. Make sure that your butt muscles are relaxed and your thighs are relaxed. And take a moment to really sink into this pose. I like to call it deflating the Sphinx. So your chest is going to drop a little bit, and the middle front ribs are going to drop, so you feel those lower and middle front ribs touch the floor. Your shoulders kind of hike up into your ears, so it's almost like we're putting the turtle head back in the shell. And then let your head drop. Let it just sink down towards the floor so your chin comes towards your chest. Take a few breaths here. Noticing if it's a nice sensation for the lower back. Closing the eyes. So a large part of the skill in yoga lies in sensing how far to move in a stretch. And with these first couple poses here, especially this one as we're doing this yin version of this pose, this stretch maybe isn't quite as much what we're looking for. We're looking for more of a softening, but we're going to move this into a major stretch. So if you don't go far enough, there's not going to be a challenge to the muscles and intensity, and maybe not as much possibility for opening. If you go too far, though, there's this violation in the body and an increasing possibility for a pain or injury. So somewhere between those two places is where we're trying to find the balance. Trying to find that place that is an edge or a boundary. So first you're just going to start to lift the head, feeling the head float up, feeling the upper palate floating up like a balloon. Press down through the forearms, through the hands, and feel your neck start to rise from between the shoulders. Move your upper arm bones back and try to lift the top of the sternum even more. And as you lift the top of the sternum, that's going to peel the front of the spine farther away from the floor, taking the lower back into a deeper back bend. So we're increasing the curve. We also want to feel like there's space in the joint. So press the palms into the floor and try to pull the floor or the mat back like you try to wiggle the spine out of the pelvis. Feeling if this is plenty, you'll stay here. If you'd like a little more stretch, pressing the hands into the earth, starting to feel your elbows lift, being very careful that the shoulders aren't what lift. So your elbows lift, but the side body has to grow a little bit stronger and longer. The side body is lifting up into the armpits as your shoulders press down into the armpits. So you should feel your triceps really start to work. Check in on your bum and your legs. Try to relax the legs here. The legs are not very active in this pose. Keep lifting the very top of the sternum. Feel the head float up and back. If it feels comfortable, you can let your head release back. A great pose to feel with your eyes closed as you shine the sternum, open the chest. And then slowly lower yourself all the way down, bringing your hands back to the floor, come up to hands and knees, and reach back into downward facing dog. Lift your heels high. Begin to walk your feet up towards the top of the mat, finding Uttanasana. Release the weight of your head down and bring your fingertips to the floor. Draw your elbows towards your legs. Let your head drop. And as your head drops, pick the shoulders up away from the earth. So you feel that length in the neck again. On a breath in, extend forward towards flat back. Sitting bones move back, side body takes you forward. Exhale, fold. And inhale, reach the arms out and up. Come all the way up to stand, palms together. And exhale the hands down in front of the chest. Release your arms down alongside the body. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to your flat back. Exhale, step your left foot back into a lunge. Coming up onto your fingertips. Eyes can still be closed here. Faces facing down, and the neck lengthens out of the shoulders as you pull the inner left thigh back towards the left heel. Exhale, step all the way back to downward facing dog. Bring your feet all the way together. And inhale, the right leg up and back. Watch out for the wall back behind you. Now, ideally, you're going to be able to find the wall behind you with the right foot. Pressing the foot into the wall, flexing the foot so that your right toes face down, and feeling the play between reaching the arms into the floor and pressing the right foot into the wall. Just like we did in plank, feel how this is a great structure for you to split the energy of the spine, feeling it try to move in two directions at once. And feeling that energy out through the right leg, press the floor away like you could push the wall over. Really sensing that boundary right there, that pretty clear boundary of where the foot is. Maybe the foot can't actually go any farther because the wall is there stopping it. But noticing how the rest of the body from the inside can change shape, can grow, can expand and soften. And as you exhale, we'll draw the right knee in towards the chest. Take your shoulders forward. Drop your head. Try to touch your knee and your forehead together like we did in our rabbit pose work. Lifting the navel up. And then slowly step the right foot between the hands. Take a breath in. Open the chest. Exhale, step your back foot forward. Inhale, come up to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach out and up. And exhale, hands through center. Inhale, reaching, sweeping the arms out and up. Let the head drop back and the chest open. And exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to extend. Exhale, right foot steps back into your lunge. Coming up onto the fingertips, keeping your back leg long. Noticing if this is a very comfortable zone, or if it right away challenges the legs. Noticing the boundary, the mental edge, reaction in the mind as we change our poses. Go ahead, slowly plant the hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Bring your feet together and take your left leg back, finding the wall. Just like we did on the first side, toes face down, try to really press the sole of the foot into the wall, feeling your left thigh take an inward spiral, so the inner thigh tries to lift up and back. Consciously bringing the body into this kind of limit or edge, holding it there, gently nudging it towards a little more openness. Closing the eyes and feel the push into the surfaces. Good. Feeling your forearms drop towards one another. Take your left knee into your chest, bending the left knee. Shoulders come forward towards the wrists. Drop the head. Try to touch the knee and the forehead together, round through the spine. Try to dome the belly up into the lower back. And exhale, step the left foot all the way forward. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale, the back foot steps forward to the top of the mat. Breathing in, arms reach out and up. And breathing out, hands come through center. We're going to take that same thing again with a vinyasa and one breath per movement. Inhaling, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward, merging the movement, the breath, the thoughts, they all become one. Inhale to lengthen into your flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Breathe in, open the chest. Breathe out, step back, down dog. Breathing in, come forward into high plank. Breathing out, chaturanga or to the earth. Inhaling, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Taking your feet together, inhale, the right leg reaches back, find the wall, push into it. Inhale. Exhale, draw your right knee and your forehead together. And then step the foot between the hands. Inhaling up to your fingertips. Take the sternum forward. Exhale, step the back foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Let's keep moving. Exhale, fold forward, widen the arms, Uttanasana. Inhale to extend into your flat back. Exhale, the right foot steps back into lunge. Inhale, broaden the chest. Exhale, step the left foot back to down dog. Inhale, forward high plank, splitting the directions of the spine. Keep that length as you exhale, chaturanga or to the earth. And inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Feet come together. Inhale, your left leg up and back. Exhale, left knee comes in towards the chest. Drop the forehead towards the knee. And then step the foot between the hands, best as you can. Inhaling to your fingertips. Exhale, step the back foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen into flat back. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms sweep out and up. And exhale, releasing your arms down. Great. Inhale, take the arms out and up. Urdhva Hastasana. Open the chest, let your head soften back. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Just pausing here in Uttanasana. Let's take fingertips to the floor again. Draw your elbows towards the legs. Lift the shoulders away from the floor, but let your neck grow towards the earth so that your head almost feels like it's magnetized towards the floor. Okay, let's step the left foot back, not to your longest stance. We're going to take a revolved triangle. So Just taking the left foot back and then circle the left heel to the floor so your left toes are turned out slightly. Come all the way up to stand, straightening both legs. Try to turn your pelvis so that the front of the pelvis faces the front of the mat. And bring your right hand to the right hip. Anchor the right hip back in space. And inhale the left arm up right alongside the ear. And noticing again if you opened your eyes and how comfortable you feel here with the eyes closed. This revolved triangle, while it's a standing pose, it's definitely a huge balance pose. So from the pelvis, reach down the legs and press the floor. And feel the whole left side of your torso lift away from that grounding back leg. Tip forward so that the sitting bones move back and the torso comes so that it's parallel to the earth. And then reach the left hand down to the big toe side of the foot. You can put a block there if you need that. Now slide your right hand so it's at the back of the sacrum instead of at the right hip, so you feel that flat part right at the back of the pelvis. And make sure the left side isn't sinking. So you want the sacrum to be very level. So for most of us, that means we have to pump up the left hip just a little bit. And press into the floor with that front big toe mound to take the right hip back. And begin to spin the chest to the right. Soften your right side ribs back. And allow your head to turn to the right. Now, if you're feeling that the hips are very level, you can start to float the right arm up. And just noticing the boundaries that your own body creates for this pose. Can you use the surface of the floor or the push and the pull that we worked on at the wall? Can you use those concepts to create more space and length? Imagining that you have one vertical line from left fingertips all the way up to right fingertips, and you're trying to open that space across the chest. Slowly release the right hand down and step back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale your left leg up, find the wall, press back into the wall. It should feel really great as you push the floor away and the wall away. Feel how your tail can move up and back. And then step the left foot forward. We're going to release the back knee down to the floor. And we'll be here for a little while. We're kind of coming back into a yin pose for a moment. So if you need some padding for the back knee, or if you need to roll your mat, make sure that you feel comfortable there. So we'll start with the left foot right between the hands. Move your hips forward. Just make sure your front heel stays very grounded. Close your eyes. And just start to settle into the stretch, the sensation that you feel through the front of the right hip. Breathing in. Feeling the diaphragm expand and the belly soften. And breathing out, feel the diaphragm rise up, away from the pelvis. Anchor your attention back to your breathing. just acknowledging that in this sequence here, where we are taking a long hold, you'll probably start to butt up into both a mental edge and a physical edge. That stretch sensation. Along with the possibility for the mind to kind of close off or tighten up. So just becoming aware if that does begin to happen. We're building our strength, we're building our stamina for those things. So let's start now to just move the left hand to the top of the left thigh. Make sure your hips don't move back, so the hips are still moving forward. If you can keep your hips from moving back, bring your right hand to the top of the left thigh. And do have your chest leaning forward, almost like you're peeking over a cliff or flying forward. This is going to intensify the stretch a little bit through the front of the right leg into the right hip flexor. And now start to lift your chest up so your chest becomes a little more upright. Doing that as long as you can keep your hips forward, so it's moving into a little more of a back bend. And the shoulders relax and you feel the roof of the mouth floating up. Sliding the neck up, out from between the shoulders. Good. Slowly bring your right hand back to the floor and heel toe your left foot out to the left about 6 inches or so, and then bring your left hand to the inside of the left foot. Making sure your back knee still feels comfortable. Now from here, options are to take the hands forward a few inches. You may be able to drop your right elbow down. If you're almost there but not quite, you could put a block underneath the right forearm. And if you're quite open, you may be able to take both forearms down to the floor. As the hips release down to the earth, do just let your head drop here, kind of like we did in our sad Sphinx pose. Feeling the shift in sensation. As we consciously bring the body into these different limits, different boundaries, holding it there, nudging it towards more openness. And trying to reverse some of those processes that happen in life due to our habits that close us in. So continuing to move into more of a twist with this one. So we're going to flex the left foot, so your left toes might lift up, and start to roll to the outside edge of the left foot, which will open your left knee. Bring more weight into your right hand or forearm, so that it could be possible for you to just set your left hand on your left knee. As you do that, the pelvis is going to roll to the left a little bit. It's going to spin to the left, so your chest turns to the left. And if you're really deep into this, you can even kind of roll onto more of the outside part of your back leg. Yin poses, these long holds, start to lengthen and soften the connective tissue. those areas that tend to glob or get glued up when we are holding other poses for a long time, such as sitting down for a long time. Good. Let's slowly start to bring your hands back to the floor, bringing your left foot back to the earth. Extend your back leg and step back into downward facing dog, which should feel like one of the nicest down dogs you've had in a while. Close your eyes. Take any movements in the legs, in the hips that feel good to you. And then stepping, taking about 15 steps or so up towards the top of the mat, up to your hands. Folding in Uttanasana. Feeling the difference between the legs. Inhale, lengthen into your flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, drop the hands down. Second side for that sequence. Inhaling, arms reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to lengthen. We have revolve triangle first, so prepare your block if you need it. Make sure it's not too far away. Step your right foot back, not your longest stance. Drop the back heel down. Come all the way up to stand. Left hand will be at the hip, and inhale your right arm up. Pausing here, you should feel probably some residue in that right hip still from our long Anjaneyasana yin hold. So notice that opening as you press the right leg down towards the floor, feeling that outer edge of that back foot root down. Try to lift your right side waist out of your hip and tip the hips so that the torso starts to come forward. And right fingertips can come to the block or the floor at the big toe side of the foot. And then just slide your left hand to the sacrum, which we're bringing some awareness to keeping that sacrum level, which means you may have to feel your right hip lift a little bit and your left hip move back. And then inhaling to expand the lungs and take the sternum forward. Keeping your neck long, start to twist chest and ribs to the left. Can you move slow enough to maintain awareness of the pelvis? Keeping the pelvis still, keeping it quiet. And extending the left arm up. Feeling the distance between your right fingertips up towards your left fingertips get longer as you broaden across the chest. And exhale, we'll slowly move the left hand back down. Step back into downward facing dog. Bringing your feet together, inhale your right leg up and back. Take a moment to press the right foot into the wall. Lifting your left hip away from the floor. And then step the right foot between the hands, preparing for our yin pose. Drop the back knee down, patting the knee. You can even put padding underneath the back shin, which takes a lot of weight off of the back knee. Settle your hips forward, taking the right knee forward, being very sure that the front heel stays grounded. Noticing the amount of sensitivity that you can have as we play with the boundaries today, bringing attention to your edges. Feeling your container, feeling your shape change with the breath. Let the breath and the stretch sensation have a relationship to each other. Listening so that you can start to feel that relationship. Take your right hand to your right knee without moving your hips back, without lifting your chest. And bring your left hand to your right knee if you can balance there. If that's too intense, just place your left hand back down. The chest is still moving forward, like you're trying to look past or over a cliff. Start to root the front foot down into the earth, feeling your chest lift away from the leg without moving your hips back. So just lift the chest as much as you can, still taking your hips forward. Drop the shoulders, soften the external areas of the face, the eyes, skin. Release your left hand to the floor, putting some weight on that. Heel toe your right foot out to the right, about 6 inches. Take your right hand back to the floor. Option here to move your hands forward, to bring the left forearm to a block. Left forearm all the way down, and maybe both forearms down. If both forearms down, your forearms are parallel and really just like they were in Sphinx pose. And then feel your back soften, let your head drop. Let the weight of your left thigh and the weight of your pelvis drop. If it's too far, can you sense if it's too far first? Back off just a little bit. So it's a place that you feel you can sustain. Your mental energy, your mental endurance can sustain it, as can the tissues and the muscles. Start to put more weight towards your left hand, your left arm. Bring your right hand to sit on the right knee. It's not pushing it, it's just resting there. Begin to open the right knee, turning to the little toe side of the right foot. And the belly will start to spin to the right. Your chest might spin to the right. So you start to animate and inflate the chest a little bit, open up across the chest and the head. You're very open in this pose. You may be able to roll towards the outer part of your back leg. to the floor. Take your time. It's kind of a very sweet moment of releasing out of the pose. Right foot will step back into down dog. Great. Drop your knees down. Reach back into child's pose. Feel that deep crease in the hips. Allowing the tension across the front of the hips to dissipate. And then slowly taking your hands so they're right alongside the feet. Turn your toes under and press yourself back into a squat. We'll start by trying to keep the feet and the legs together. This is a little bit more challenging for most people. So it's usual that the heels are going to be lifted unless you have really long Achilles. If you're finding that really hard to balance, you can roll the back of your mat up a little bit so that your heels have a little ledge to sit on. Taking your legs together if you can. And then let your torso release down. The arms can be on the outsides of the legs. Sinking your heels towards the earth. And continuing to feel those deep creases, just like you would in child's pose. Just using gravity slightly different. Okay, we're going to come into a balance here. Bringing the thighs so they're more parallel to the floor. Your heels will be lifted, so you're balancing on the balls of the feet. If the eyes are closed and you're having a really hard time balancing, this would be a great time to allow for the eyes to open. And take your palms together if you can. Good. You're going to keep your legs together, so inner thighs and inner knees keep touching. Bring your hands over to the right side of you towards your mat. Keep your knees tracking forward towards the front of your mat. See if you can plant the palms down so they're about shoulder distance. As your legs keep moving towards the front of the mat, spin your belly to the right, spin your chest to the right. Feel that twist in the body. And then come right back to center. Take your palms together, come back into your balance. Exhale, take your twist to the left. The hands will come down towards the floor on the left side of you. The knees move forward. Let your head drop. Spin the belly to the left. Take the right side ribs towards the left. Feel that stretch across the right side ribs into the back. Walking your hands forward again, and exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana with the feet together. They should be together from that pose. If they're not together, you can just keep them where they're at. They're a little bit farther apart. And then inhale all the way up to stand. Take the weight towards your left foot, moving towards tree pose. The right foot will come to the inside of the left leg. pressing the right foot to the inner thigh. If you can't get it quite that high, go ahead and bring the sole of the right foot to the inner calf area. Feel the tail reaching towards the direction of the floor as the top of the sternum lifts. The neck lengthens out and up from between the shoulders. And inhale the arms right alongside the ears. If this is a balance that for some people can become very steady, if that's the case, do challenge this balance by keeping the eyes closed. Letting your right leg and hip have that nice external rotation opening, which we haven't done quite a lot of in today's class. Just letting the front of the pelvis broaden and open like a book. Slowly release your arms and your right foot down. Take a moment to take the weight and pour the energy down through your right foot as you switch sides. Left foot lifts. Feeling the press of the inner right leg towards your foot as the tail releases to the earth. Exhale. The diaphragm lifts, drawing the navel back. And the arms can float up. Gently release that left foot down, taking the arms down, and just walk so you're right in the middle of the mat. Take your feet together, bend your knees, come back into that little squat position. We're going to take the same twist with an option for a revolved crow. So you'll take your arms over to the right, planting your hands down. Push a little bit more weight into your arms, twisting belly to the right. Keep your knees moving forward. See if you can pick your hips up away from your heels a couple of inches. And just feel the possibility to take weight towards your hands. Broaden across the chest. Start to bend your elbows straight back so that your left elbow comes into contact with your outer right thigh. It's going to be a crucial place of contact as you start to shift your weight forward. The head is still lifted, so you still want to grow the turtle head out of the shell here. And you might be able to float your feet off the floor so that your right thigh balances on your left elbow. Lift and dome the navel up. And then exhale, set your feet down or just come out of your twist, whatever position you're in. Come to balance, palms together, balancing on the balls of the feet. Thighs and shins are parallel with the floor. And then exhale, taking the second side. Bringing your hands down. Make sure your right knee doesn't knock forward. So you want to keep your legs as one nice unit. Bring more weight towards your hands. Shoulders are broad as the sternum reaches forward. Start to pick your hips up. Try not to lift your knees more. Your hips lift, elbows move back, and the right elbow makes contact with the left thigh. And that may be way farther than you're willing to go today. If you're a little bit more frisky today and willing, the feet might float up. Dome the navel away from the floor and take the sternum forward even more. Great, and then exhale all the way back. And just plant your hands out in front of you. Step your feet back, find downward facing dog. Great, let's inhale forward to high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog or cobra. Pause here, pressing down through the tops of the feet. Feeling the arms, the little bend of the elbows push into the floor so you feel your side body lifts up towards the armpits and the shoulders press down into the armpits so that the turtle head can float up. Great, let's exhale back to the knees. So you're just on hands and knees. Take a hold of your block. We're going to take the block up to the top of the mat so that it's on its lowest height. And the long end of the block is going to be parallel with the short end of the mat. So I'll say that again. Your block is on its lowest height, and the very long end of the block is parallel to the short end or the top end of your mat. Now place your elbows on the block so they're about block width, and interlace your fingers. If you have very wide shoulders, you may want to use a second block. Might just not be enough room for your elbows there. Start to walk your knees back just like we did in dog and prayer at the beginning of class. Let your head release between the upper arms. Your forehead may be able to rest on the edge of the block. That's what I like to do. And then let your biceps hug the sides of the head a little bit. Exhale, draw the navel up and help that press the hips back. It's a nice deep tricep stretch, shoulder stretch. If you're feeling pain in the shoulder, more pain than stretch, then lift your arms up and take the weight slightly forward so that you don't sink into the shoulder joint. You want to keep some stability there. Just preparing your arms, your chest for a little bit more back bending. Noticing the openness through the front of the hip after those long yin poses. Great. Slowly bring yourself all the way out of that pose. Set the block aside. And we're going to turn to face the wall. So you're going to come to sit pretty close to the wall and then lie down. Bend your knees. Have the feet on the floor and shimmy yourself so that your toes are almost touching the wall. So your feet are pretty much right at the wall and your hips are right behind them. The back is on the floor. And then you're going to take your feet and just walk them up the wall so that the soles of the feet are on the wall and your knees should be bent at about a 90-degree angle. The back of the pelvis is on the floor. Take the arms so they're right alongside the body and press the backs of the shoulders into the earth, press the back of the head into the floor. And just take a step with your right foot and then your left foot up the wall a few inches. Feel like the feet are trying to pull the wall down, which is going to pick your hips up, peeling the tail, the sacrum, the lumbar spine off the floor, so that more weight comes up into your shoulders. As the hips lift up, you can walk your feet a little bit farther up the wall. Try to move your thigh bones up, away from your hips, away from your chest. Broaden across the chest. And keep pressing the backs of the shoulders down. And then let the floor massage the back as you slowly lower your hips back to the earth. And walk your feet down. Take a breath in. And we'll exhale doing that again. So you start to peel the tail and the sacrum off the floor, walking your feet. A few inches up the wall. Keep lifting your knees. Feet might be able to walk a little farther up. Option here to interlace your fingers behind the back. Press the floor away. Shimmying the shoulders underneath you as you press the back of the head down. Keep lifting your hips up. Feel your chest and your side ribs launch towards the ceiling. Good, and exhale yourself all the way down. Bring your feet back to the floor. Taking the arms alongside the body. Exhale, peel your tail away from the floor and move your knees towards the wall. Feel your thighs track away from the hips as you lift up towards bridge pose, interlacing the fingers behind the back. Picking the spine up away from the floor, especially that area right between your shoulder blades, the upper back, spine, thoracic area. Tries to move away from the earth. Great. Taking another breath in. And exhale, release all the way back down to the floor. Okay, we're going to move into Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel pose, with option to just stay with another bridge pose. For bridge pose, just like we did, you'll have your arms alongside the body. For Urdhva Dhanurasana, plant your hands right alongside the ears so that the thumb side of your hand is closer to the ears and your fingertips are facing the wall. Moving your knees towards the wall to pick the tail up, then pressing into the floor with the hands. Start to lengthen the legs. Keep pressing the floor away with the arms and extend all the way up into your full wheel. Seeing if it's comfortable enough for you to close your eyes here. Just like we did in our plank pose, can you feel the spine moving in two directions? It's a little bit harder to sense here because your spine is coiling like a snake. It's doing that rounding, arching action. But can you still create some space between all of those bones of the spine? Multiple joints that you have to find more space in. Great. Slowly lowering yourself down from bridge or for full wheel pose. Taking a few breaths to have a break. You can draw your knees into the chest if you'd like. And we'll take one more with a second option while you're in full wheel. So bridge pose is first option. Plant your hands for full wheel, Urdhva Dhanurasana. Taking your knees forward, peeling the spine, and then picking the chest up and lengthening the arms. If you're up in full wheel, take a full breath in to feel your full extension. Lift your heels up. And then slowly set the very top of your head to the floor between your hands. You can take a different arm position with the forearms on the floor and the fingers interlaced back behind the head for Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. So the arms are similar to how they would be in a headstand, pressing the forearms down, take your elbows close in. Use the forearms to root into the earth so your chest lifts, and you can bring the heels back to the floor if they're not already. And to release out of that pose, you want to take your hands back to the floor. You can lift all the way up into full Urdhva Dhanurasana and then come down, or just tuck your chin in and slowly roll yourself all the way down. And then let's all draw the knees towards the chest. Close the eyes. Now take your feet back to the wall so that your shins are parallel to the floor, thighs are vertical, and lengthen your right leg straight up towards the ceiling. Take your hands and interlace them back behind your right calf, right ankle. If you're very flexible, you can take the foot. And just draw your straight right leg towards the chest. Let your lower back relax towards the earth. And then switching sides, right foot comes to the wall, left leg lengthens, interlace fingers at the back of the calf or shin, grabbing the foot if you're a little more open. Using this hamstring release to also help release the lower back after those back bends. Releasing that foot down. Press your feet into the wall one last time. And exhale to peel the tail, the sacrum, and just those first few lumbar spine away from the floor. Just curling them up and then set them back down. From here you can shimmy yourself away from the wall. Lie down on your back and prepare for Shavasana. Start with your breath. Boundaries of the inside and the outside soften. Feel how the breath creates you and creates a relationship between the inside of you and the outside. Feeling the space that you take up, how that changes in a very subtle way as you breathe in and expand. And as you breathe out, you let the back of the body melt. Feeling the space around you, relationship to it constantly changing. Feeling the boundary between yourself, the inside, and the outside of you, feeling that boundary soften and get a little more blurry. Feeling the stillness. Let the stillness be your anchor. Begin to bring your full attention back to your physical body. You can gently find movement in your hands and feet to bring yourself back. And then using your hands to push up into a comfortable seat. Once you're in your comfortable seat, take the palms of your hands and cup or cover the eyes, sealing out all of the light. Feel that circle around your eyes soften, letting go of any bits of fatigue that are left in the eyes. Giving a little pressure onto any area around the eyes or near the eyeball that feels good. And then slowly just remove your hands and very slowly open your eyes. Keep your peripheral vision open so that you can blend the inside and the outside. Take the palms together at the heart. May all beings find happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings never be parted from freedom's true joy. May all beings dwell in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Take a breath in, exhale, namaste.
Are you enjoying this podcast? I've chosen to offer these audio recordings freely for over 15 years. I do this because research shows yoga, yoga nidra, and Feldenkrais to be valuable practices, those which I would like to share widely. Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, has always been a pillar of my business. And more generally, dana is the inclination to give without expecting any form of repayment. It does, however, take a fair amount of time, effort, and cost to maintain and keep the podcasts available. If you feel you've benefited from what you've learned from these classes, then please do consider making a contribution towards the maintenance and upkeep of the classes. It will help ensure that I can continue to offer the podcast classes freely and keep generating new material. Give what you can, give what feels good. If it's too little, it won't feel good. If it's too much, it won't feel good. Links to support the show monetarily can be found in the show notes. And other ways to give include sharing the podcast with others, leaving a 5-star rating and review, or just sending me an email with how the classes have affected you. Thanks so much.